So tell us about the Bolo.
Well, what we have here is a Douglas B-18 Bolo. Now, this is pre-World War II.
Oh, wow.
So this airplane's 86 years old. It was built in 1938. And it was in competition with the B-17 at the time. And so the Army ordered some of these as well. Now, when World War II broke out, a lot of these were destroyed on the ground at Hickam Field at Pearl Harbor and also at Clark Field in the Philippines. When World War II broke out, they were rendered obsolete because they were a little slow and sluggish. So they were relegated to coastal patrol and things like that. One thing I will mention is this is the first American airplane to sink a German U-boat off the East Coast.
Really? How did that happen?
They sighted it from when you're in an airplane, you could see in the water below, like, you know, a submarine or something like that. So they actually dove on it and, you know, dropped some bombs or depth charges and sunk the submarine.
Wow. Because
remember, German submarines were close enough to American shores to see the lights of New York and everything. Kind of scary, you know, when you think about that. If it looks a little bit, what Douglas did is they took the wings, the landing gear, and the tail surfaces off their commercial airliner, the DC-3, and stuck them on a kind of a bomber fuselage. That's why it's so kind of deep and everything, so it could carry some bombs. Didn't have a lot of range, but this, like I said, this is a very rare airplane, and it's the only one known in existence with this turret on the front. Typically, they had this big, kind of long-looking Pinocchio nose, was all framed and glassed, but this is a very rare airplane. So this airplane actually went to work after the war as a sprayer. So it was spraying for mosquitoes. So they would, you know, where areas of the country would have problems with mosquitoes, they'd put a boom on the trailing edge of the wing, and they would spray for mosquitoes. Now, this airplane flew into Kassel to this museum in 1982.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
How many people were in this one? Could fit in this one?
Typically, you'd have 4 to 5. You know, you had a pilot, co-pilot, you know, gunner, bombardier, and usually it had a rear turret, so you had one back there.
Why did they make the nose different on this one? Did you find out the story on that one?
Well, they did, so they could put a machine gun up here to defend in a turret, so they had better mobility and a greater field of fire to defend and shoot back at any enemy fighters.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of times, you know, if you see a lot of guns on the nose, this would have been very inadequate in combat because fighter airplanes, especially in Europe, the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force at the time, developed head-on attacks. So they're shooting at you with multiple machine guns and in many cases cannons. You'd see little blinks like that, which could, you know, knock you out of the sky readily quickly.
And how many bombs could fit approximately?
I believe, depends on the weight of the bombs, but you could probably load this thing with maybe 2,000 pounds at best. You know, so if you're 500-pound bombs, 4 bombs.
I wouldn't think there would be many.
No,
so you have to have good aim.
Yeah, you do. And these would, you know, I think the top speed on this thing might be 200 miles an hour. So your cruise speed might be 150. So they're very, very, you know, again, it's a mid-30s design. So, you know, it was taken, it was, you know, quickly overtaken by the B-17 because it had the range and the B-24. But this was a shorter range airplane. And then, you know, when it was stateside, like I said, the Canadian Air Force also used it. And they named it the Digby. I don't know why. But they also used it for coastal patrol and training. And so these could go out a couple 100 miles and, you know, search for submarines or any enemy activity like that.
Is this open for Open Cockpit Day?
Normally it is. And you can take a look at it and you can see what 1938 technology kind of looked like.
Oh, I bet that's really fun.
It is. It is. As a matter of fact, on the back part of the fuselage, the turret actually sinks down into the fuselage and it pops up. Then the gunner gets in it and he's got a gun and he can, you know, do this kind of thing. So.
How fun. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
As he died.
Bye.